Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Spurs News Podcast, our first one back after the international break, and no more international breaks of 2025. I don't know about you, but I missed the international breaks already. Joining me to discuss the wonderful world of Tottenham Hotspur, where everything is bright and glorious, it's Stefan.
I've never wanted international breaks as much as I currently do.
Well, I am considering taking a permanent international break, where I just follow teams around the world rather than one team instead. I feel like it's sort of a modern football fandom where I just pick a team all around the globe, vary it every week. I don't know. It just seems fun.
I quite like the idea of that.
Yeah. I mean, I've had worse ideas. I think the worst idea I've had in quite some time was Tottenham. Really. Where do I start? So, I know where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with. You ever watch those shows when we were kids, and they were like, "Oh, now we're going to get to your letters, your mailbag, and all that stuff." At some point, for a laugh, I'm going to give out the PO box address we got, and people can send us postcards.
That'd be cool.
Just because I think that'd be funny. Let me know. Yeah. Get in touch. Would that be funny? We have got a considerable amount of emails and stuff that have come in, and so I want to start there. So that way I don't forget, and I do believe, I could be horrifically wrong here, but I do believe we also had a comment on a Facebook post from someone.
Hey.
Yeah, it's all very quiet on that front, I've got to be honest with you. But
which is strange, because normally if we lose a game, that's when social media is kind of at its loudest.
Yeah.
Which is a real kind of damning indictment into what's going on at this football club at the moment, when even when we can lose that match, the fans still can't even be bothered to complain about it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. There is a real kind of it's kind of like a silent anger. I say silent. I'm going to read you a few emails. So let's go to the section of the show we call Your Comments.
Now it's time for your comments from our social media.
And the email. So, dear boy, Instagram is all quiet. All quiet on the Instagram front. Lovely Laura still looking after our Instagram like a hero that she is.
People need to just drop her a message and say hello.
Still, without a shadow of a doubt, my favourite Laura on our admin team, without a doubt. She is the best and most attractive woman in our admin team as well.
That's a big shout.
It is a big shout. She is the only woman called Laura in our admin team. But anyway, moving on.
She's the only woman in our admin team. Well, Ryan, but...
Yeah, and I had to say woman because, most attractive person in our admin team, everyone knows that's not her. Anyway,
Dan.
So, Dan. Polynesian Dan, what a unit. And that's just his penis. Anyway, right, so we have two people here on Facebook. First of all, we have Tom Perks, which is a great name, by the way. I hope that's his real name, Tom Perks.
I like it, yeah. What's the perk of his comment?
Tom says, was it right to change to a back three for the Arsenal game? Weren't we moaning that the previous manager wouldn't change his playing style for anybody? Well, Tom, thank you for your...
give you 4 reasons why.
Thank you for your question. Please sit back and prepare for a 27-minute rant. No. Tom, I don't think you are... okay, so where do I start? Okay.
Is it
Stretch
correct
this
for a
out.
manager to be able to change his system for every opportunity and every opponent? Yes, it is right. Now, this is something that when we hired Thomas Frank, I was most excited about, was the fact that he could look at each individual
Yeah.
fixture on its own and create a tactic and a system to best suit that fixture.
Just pausing you a second. This is something I completely disagree with and have from day one. So
It is,
carry on.
no, 100%. Yeah,
So carry on.
you have to screw that. I was quite excited by the idea of being that kind of like tactically fluent and able to go, right, this is a high pressing team, so therefore we're going to do this. This is a low blocking team, so we're going to do this. This is
Yeah.
a possession based team, so we're going to do. The idea of trying to nullify each opponent was something originally I quite enjoyed.
Pausing again.
Yep.
Keywords in that, purely focused on the opponent. And
Yep.
that's why I don't like it. Continue.
However, when you turn up to your arch rivals with 5 defenders and 2 fucking holding midfielders and decide to sit there and not even bother trying to counter-attack a team, what the was he thinking?
So, right, we in the Super Cup, right at the very start, so Frank's first competitive game, played against PSG, probably the best side on the planet, who we play again tonight. We're recording this Wednesday morning.
The reason we're recording this Wednesday, not Thursday, is because there's enough pain in this episode. Let's spread it to the next.
I am fearing some
fucking
bad
whitewash tonight. Yeah.
I fear it might get a little bit bad, but to the point.
Remember that game that Pochettino pretty much got sacked after against Bayern Munich?
So I am at a point where I am going to treat tonight as a comedy festival, and that's the only way I'm going to get through it. But we need to stay on topic.
Okay.
Tom, I don't think setting up with a back 5 to play Arsenal was a bad idea. I think Arsenal are without a doubt the best side in the country at the moment. At their ground, go into it with the similar mentality as we had against PSG at the start, which was to sit and counter, would make sense. You come away from the Emirates with a point or maybe snatch a win, it's a fantastic result either way. What my problem is that everything I have seen in the league this season, so the Super Cup aside, the Super Cup I actually felt our system and our plan worked. We were a bit unlucky with the momentum at the end and they took charge because we sat to, it's one of those things that can happen and then a penalty shootout's what it is. But I was not adverse to the tactical setup to go to Arsenal to try and get a result. However, it has been abundantly clear to me, and seemingly more people are seeing this now. And by the way, and they hate me for it. Like, I don't get this. But I've said this from the start, from the minute we appointed him, all the way through every single game, is we do not have an offensive plan beyond pumping the ball long, hoping someone like Kudus can get on it and do something, or playing for set pieces and hoping to score from set pieces. That has been my observation. It was my fear when he joined. It's been my observation from the start, and it has not changed. And when we played against Arsenal at the weekend, we had nothing. We offered nothing. We had zero intent. It's the same against Chelsea. It's the same against multiple teams. The teams that aren't as good as those I've just mentioned, when we have done that, we have scored and created chances. But I'd like people to run this through in their minds, how many times we've scored goals and done stuff, and it's the individual player doing it. And the Arsenal game's a perfect example. Richie, the most frustrating Brazilian striker in the history of the world, can score bicycle kicks, overhead kicks, can score from near the halfway line and make it look effortless and brilliant, because believe it or not, he has that ability, but can then also do the most simplest stuff like he's from the Sunday League.
Yeah, the ball is rolling on the goal line. All he has to do is fall over and touch the ball and it goes in, and he manages to miss it.
And yet he does that against Arsenal, which was superb. Skill, brilliance to do that. Just boom, did it. Amazing. But that was a challenge from Palhinha. The ball loose, him looking up and hitting it. It had nothing to do with any pattern of play. It had fuck all to do with any tactics. It had nothing to do with anything at all that was created. It was just a moment of he doing something. So many of our goals this season, if not a high percentage, are based on that. Now, okay, that's fine.
Van der Ven's pretty much goal of the season was him picking the ball up and just running with it.
In charging forward, him taking the ball, and then Romero got an assist like minutes later because he was like, "Oh, I want to do that." Which has,
you got to remember that Van der Ven is our top goal scorer, and the next one is on goals.
Yeah, still is. Yeah.
Yeah, that still says a lot that I defend
although
and own goals.
I think Rich is now level with own goals. So look, I have got no issue with setting up that way to play them because you had a game plan in mind. But what the fuck was the game plan in that game? And don't tell me that the players that all last season had the ability to make short, sharp passes, to move to create space, and were well drilled to do it, have suddenly had all of that fall out of their brains, and Thomas Frank is like, oh, I don't know why the players did that or anything like that. They were clearly all following instructions to a player. Here's a little observation which just fucking baffles me as well. If you are going to play it out from the back, so the whole principle of that is you draw a team onto you. You play through them, and because you've drawn them on, that gives you space to attack. It's such a well-developed principle. We did it really well under Pochettino. Pep's done it for you. Like, teams have done this for a long time. Explain to me the logic of playing the ball short to your fullback or one of your central defenders for him to pass it back to you and to you lump it 40 to 50 yards to nobody and just give the ball back.
I can do you one better, which I've witnessed multiple times this season that really frustrates me, is when the opposite happens, which is Vicario doesn't take a goal kick, the defender does.
Yeah. The
defender passes it to Vicario, and then he launches it down the pitch. That's the one that's really pissing me off. Because I'm like, what's the point of Van der Ven passing the ball to Vicario from a goal kick for him to smash it? Just do that first time round.
It's literally the same thing. It's just...
Yeah. But it's the fact that we have defenders taking the goal kicks for Vicario to knock it long. Like, even that just absolutely baffles me. It's the same as what you're saying, but it's just the whole...
I think the only explanation for that is Vicario has some sort of injury that they were trying to protect because he's...
But he can't, because they're passing the ball to him and he's still doing the exact same thing as a goal kick.
Mate,
it's just a stupid defender doing it first. But anyway...
You're trying to find logic.
To your point, there is no reason for it. Like, it is infuriating. It's like, we're going to draw you onto us and then just give you the ball anyway.
There's no logic, but it's coached. That is what we are trying to do. Now, you have in Dominic Solanke probably, and probably Colomboani, two strikers who have the ability to hold the ball up without a shadow of a doubt. I saw Solanke do it really well for us. I've seen Colomboani try and do it, and did it quite well. Richie cannot. Richie, for being a Brazilian, and all this kind of stuff, that is not his game, right? It's not. He harasses, he runs the channels and drags people, and he does that very, very well. But trying to get him to be a player like a friggin' Duncan Ferguson that's going to try and get the flick-ons constantly from long balls is like trying to get me to win a fucking Mr. Universe contest. It ain't happening.
No, I don't think Brazil have had a hold-up centre-forward since Adriano.
So... My whole thing on this is everyone kept telling me Thomas Frank's so much more tactically adept, so much for this, so much that. It's bollocks. He has one thing. Lump it up to a number 9 who's going to knock it on and have fast people running off him and try and score goals. Anyone, like, it's just hilarious to me how many comments we get on social media from Brentford fans laughing their freaking dicks off at us. It's like, welcome to our world for the last however long. And yet everyone told me, every media darling, every friggin' journalist, everyone told me how amazing he was, how Brentford were heartbroken he's left and all this kind of stuff. They've not gone anywhere. They're not fighting relegation. I mean, you know, they're not challenging, but they're exactly where they were. They're the same. They
are a mid-table team.
Yeah, and lo and behold, so are we again. So, Tom, thank you for your question. I really enjoyed getting some of that off my chest. However, yeah, people moaning our last manner. Some people were. Some people genuinely bemoaned the fact that they felt Ange wouldn't ever change his philosophy. I really wasn't one. There was, without a shadow of a doubt, a time when we were horrifically injured and you thought to yourself, yeah, maybe this is mad. Maybe this is stupid. However, we were still scoring, still playing, and the whole philosophy throughout the team and the squad, everybody knew it. And the amount now of this kind of retrospective history changing, of like just ignoring all of the situation, ignoring the transfer window he was given going into the season, ignoring the injuries, and just, but we finished 17th. Thomas Frank, after us getting dicked by Arsenal, had a dig about the fact that our fans shouldn't have much of an expectation because we finished 17th last year.
Yeah, that was for me the final nail in the coffin. You are going to completely ignore the fact that, you know, the same people, at least it makes me laugh as well, the same people that are moaning that we shouldn't be judging Thomas Frank because we're missing 2 key players are the same people that told me for the last 18 months that injuries and suspensions don't matter. It's up to a manager to motivate the team he's got.
Yeah. And change and do, but anyway, look.
Yeah, that makes me laugh. But to say, to come out in an interview after being dicked like that, to say, well, you know, this club did finish 17th last season. We won a freaking European trophy.
Yeah.
That was still a successful team.
Yeah.
If you had asked any Tottenham fan at the beginning of the season, would you take a season where we win a trophy, but we don't get relegated? I reckon they all would have said yes.
So we have another comment on Facebook from Sean Palmetter. Sean says, I know it's already tomorrow for you because I'm in Western Canada, but I've got to get this off my chest. Frank is using this "we've only had 6 months and they've had 6 years" excuse with Arsenal. And I understand we are without the likes of Matters, Decky and Solanke. But where do the excuses for not having any plans stop? Is this just Frank's way of buying time by smooth talking and knowing the new management is going to inject funds, or should we hold him accountable for not leading us properly, especially since he's had all of the new additions available? In recent years, we blamed fatigue when we were suffering from injuries, but now it all seems like there is absolutely no plan at all out there. Has he completely lost the plot, or should we be patient with him? Because I miss Ange Ball. There's a lot to unpick in that. There's such an argument around this, around Ange Ball, because it's like you just summarised then something which is kind of mind blowing to me that we have this debate. I'm just going to say this. I loved the Pochettino era of Tottenham, the way we played. every game, practically, I felt we were going to win. And if we ever lost, I knew the next game we'd be better. Like, I liked that team, the way we played, everything about that era is a great memory for me.
Yep.
We won NAFL, and on a regular basis, Tottenham fans attacked me for enjoying that so much because we won nothing. The game's about glory, game's about trophies. Oh, you've got a weak mentality. That was what was thrown at me all the time, that I was enjoying that, right?
Yep.
Fast forward then, for all these winner managers that won fuck all, we then have Ange come in and basically say, in the most, look at me, I'm the fucking boss here moment, I don't sometimes win stuff in my second season, I always win something in my second season, and the fucker did it.
Yep.
With us, a club that has won nothing in 17 years before he came along, European trophy in much longer, 40-something years.
Yep.
And he just did it. Because he understood, in amongst all the chaos that was going on behind the scenes, that what was going to be more important to the club. Him climbing us to mid-table, maybe top 8, or winning a trophy, which not only lifts a trophy, but guarantees you a Champions League spot. And all the money and investment that comes with that. Is it so difficult for people to wrap their friggin' heads around that he made the right decision? And don't get me wrong, if he'd fucked it and we'd lost, then it was a bad decision, a bad gamble, and he would have gone down as one of the worst coaches we've had, results-wise.
Yep. However, he made that choice, and all you've got to do is look from, I think it's pretty much like the first or second week of the transfer window in January.
Yeah.
When he clearly realised it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the squad, like the selections and stuff in the matches changes. And, you know, Romero and Van der Ven are fit for the quarterfinals onwards of the Europa League, yet played like 2 games in the Premiership together or something crazy. Like, everything was set up because he decided, right, we're going to win a cup. He won that cup. Like you say, if he hadn't won that cup, my God, he would have gone in history books for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
He made the choice, and he did what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
And all we are getting beaten by now is, 17th.
Yeah.
You finished 17th. You finished 17th. And it was like, he realised we weren't getting... Now, don't get me wrong. If it was this season, and you look at how, like, the Sunderlands and stuff who have just come up are doing, it probably would have been a lot different season, because that season, there were the 3 teams that came up were not to the level. They went straight back down again. Yeah. It would have been a little more touch and go this season, possibly, with the teams everyone seems to be doing a little better or worse. But in the season, he made a choice. It worked.
Yeah.
We now have a manager at the club right now ignoring what happened and just going, but fans, come on, you finished 17th last season. What do you expect?
Right. I will say that there are probably very, very smart people out there who will know the answers to this. But I think the vast majority of fans not only don't know, but also don't care. Where did we finish in the league in 1991 when we won the FA Cup for the 8th time? Where did we finish in the league when we won the League Cup twice under Daniel Levy's stewardship? The seasons we won it. Where did we finish in the league the last time we won the UEFA Cup before this time? I don't know.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with you, I don't give a shit. The league finish matters if you are winning the league, if you are competing to win the league. If
you're doing the treble or the double, fair enough.
There's this thing that happened in football. The advent of the Premier League and Sky and all the pundits and everyone like that, where they made the Premier League to be the be all and end all, because it's their coverage, it's their thing, it's back when TV coverage of football as match of the day, and you would have FA Cup, stuff like that. The FA Cup was arguably more important to the vast majority of football fandom than the league title was. The FA Cup was the be all and end all. The Champions League and the money involved, the Premier League and the money involved changed that without a shadow of a doubt. But it also, the punditry and the focus on Premier League means that fans have lost this ability to see anything but where you are in the league as your definition of what is good. All circumstances are thrown out the window, and again, and Thomas Frank, our current head coach, is using that as a justification of how shit we were last year. So don't attack him for how shit we still are, because he's got a lot of work to do to make us not shit. I'm sorry, but okay, Thomas, if you're going to use that, the how shit we were last year, one of the few teams we beat home and away last year was your Brentford side. And we were fucking awful, right? We were 17th. The level we were was the worst because of how bad we were, but we were still better than you.
Home and away.
At your ground, we started.
Lost how many games at home last season?
Last season, we started Archie Gray and Ben Davis as centre backs at your ground, and won without conceding a goal.
Yeah,
I literally, like I said, have no friggin' idea what to say to any of that. It's just mind blowing to me that after losing 4-1 to Arsenal, it could have been and should have been probably worse. He would come out with that as the reason and the excuse. You said it was like the final nail in the coffin for you. Well, that brings me on to this next thing, which is, I said to everyone on the podcast, and I thought I was being open and honest, and that was a good thing, and boy am I suffering for it since. He wasn't someone I was excited by or disappointed, just someone I don't like. And I said, look, it's an irrational thing, it's a stupid thing. I just don't like him, can't warm to him or anything like that. He's done a good job at Brentford. I hope he comes in and shows everyone what a good job he can do with us and takes us forward and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I got some serious hang-ups about this decision we made bringing him in.
Yep.
I felt being open and honest about that and explaining it was a good thing. It's proven it's not been for me, because basically every time we lose, I get the same messages, emails, which is, you're happy then.
Now. Yeah,
you're happy. Like, no, there's no part of me that's enjoying this.
Yeah, you must be really happy. We just got spanked by Arsenal because he had the wrong tactic, and you're there going, no. Why would I be fucking happy?
Yeah, I'm literally pulling my hair out. Like, it's like you look at a situation and you go, okay, here are my fears. These are the things that are concerning me. And then all of them happen. There's no part of me that's like delighted by that. What I'd like to be is in this position now where I'm sat here on a regular basis going, no, you got that right. Yeah, no, fair play. No, that was wrong there.
I didn't think you could do that, but he had.
Yeah. And it's the opposite. What I'm finding is I'm not saying it. Like, I don't have to say it. People have eyes. But what is amazing to me is the sheer unwavering tongue up his asshole from so many journalists and so many fans that are just unwavering in their support because they deem him some I don't know, media darling or something. Like, when me and you first talked about him, you said, oh, I've seen him on this podcast, this, and he's like, and I was just like, well, I can't warm to him. Like, I've seen him on these things, and like, for whatever reason, it reminds me of a lechy PE teacher, I think, and just like, I just can't warm to him. So, but that thing of him showing up on different podcasts, doing these things, and people going, oh yeah, he knows what he's talking about, and all that kind of stuff, seems to feed into this narrative now of, oh, it's not him, it's how shit our squad is. And I'm like, what? Like, we're just miles off it. Like, our team's just nowhere near. Like, it's just not good enough. And everything. And like, so okay, let's just take a very brief walk through this. And I know we got some injuries and stuff at the moment, but let's just so Vicario, statistically right now, so throw your opinions out the window on individual players for a moment, but statistically, Vicario is one of the best performing goalkeepers in Europe. For shots faced, saves made, he is statistically that's accurate. I rate him personally, but I know many people don't. They think he flaps at things. I think that's a narrative. But that is statistically, and against Arsenal, we would have definitely lost that game 7 or 8-1 if not for him.
Same as the Chelsea game.
Yeah, same as so. So look, that is what it is. The statistically is that's there. I'm struggling for the justification and warranting to tell me that Romero and Van de Ven are a poor centre back pairing. They're shit. They're relegation worthy. That's nonsense. Like, I can't be alone in just looking at that and going, how's that accurate? You got a World Cup winning one of the best defenders on the planet, and then you got Mickey Van de Ven, who is everything complementary to QT. Like, there's no logic there to tell me that those two are a terrible centre back pairing. No logic at all.
Yep.
Destiny Udogie, who has suffered with injury after injury in form since coming back into the side this season, has been exemplary. He really has. He has shown that having a left-footed fullback on the left is without a shadow of doubt the way we need to be. If you're not going to...
And I also think with him, I think Spence deserves a lot of credit on that, because last season we didn't really have a player showing that much that could cover that position.
Yeah.
Spence got given a chance on the left and did really damn well. And all of a sudden, Destiny's had to look at that and go, oh, if I want to play every week, I have got to up my game. And I think during his injury, I think he's worked on a lot of things because of that. And like you say, he has come back from injury and he has been spot on.
And Jed definitely deserves praise. I think him being a traditional left back, where you're looking at overlaps, not underlaps, like when he was inverted, has shown that he isn't as accomplished on the left as he is on the right, because he's just naturally right-footed. Yep. The way Ange set the team up, he looked excellent. In fact, he looked better than Destiny in that system on the left last season. But this season, under Thomas's lineup, no, Destiny by far and away shows he's a good left back. Statistically, again, one of the best left backs in the Premier League. I think he's third in the list for every metric you can measure. Right back, Pedro Porro, is an offensive right back. Without a shadow of a doubt, he is an attacking right back. Jed Spence on the right back side is more defensive, without a doubt, and more tactically sound in that regard. Pedro Porro, prior to Thomas Frank's arrival, so since Pedro Porro joined the Premier League, and keep in mind Trent, etc. were there during this time, so during Pedro Porro's time, no defender has more assists in the Premier League than him. So he arrived in the league with like Trent and that at Liverpool doing assists constantly. He's arrived, and since his arrival, no defender has more assists. Currently, he's sat on 1 in the league for this season, because he's being asked to play very differently to how he's been asked to play previously for us. Yep. The benefits of Pedro Porro being in your side and all of the assets he has have been stripped. And he's struggling to show the defensive capability that's being asked of him, because that's not his strength. It was never Trent Alexander-Arnold's strength. Just ask Real Madrid fans now. The ability to set your team up when you have a player like that, to utilise their skills, is there for all to see. So, okay, maybe he needs to leave us under Thomas Frank and we need to sign or promote Jed to being our full-time right back and sign another one that's more defensive-minded. Me, personally, I think it's freaking mental. But my point in doing this isn't to go through and critique every player. It's to point out to everyone how fucking ridiculous it is, the notion that our squad is shit. It is ridiculous. Like, you go through the midfield, Bentancur, Sarr, Berval, Xavi. Xavi's come in and has got, you watch him, he has got all of the ability and everything there, and you can see it. If you can't see it, you're just being totally negative and trying to look at things from a shitty lens. But he is...
I saw a tweet about Xavi, actually. And it was a complimentary tweet. It was, I can't remember the exact wording of it, but it was basically that Xavi is the player that Ange was desperate for.
Yeah.
That Frank doesn't need.
feels
Thomas Frank does not play the style of football that Xavi Simons thrives in.
Yeah.
But he was the player that Ange Ball desperately needed when Decky and Maddison weren't available.
Yeah.
If he had him there, he would have looked like a Ballon d'Or nominee.
Yeah.
But with Thomas Frank, you've got this player who thrives on getting the ball, attacking, running at players, showing some skill, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he's basically being asked, well, don't leave your half.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can get the ball and you can take someone on, but don't expect there to be anyone there with you.
Yeah, it's look,
and it's like, he is the player that Ange Ball needed that Frank doesn't, but the wrong manager got him.
My whole point is it's nonsensical, this whole thing, because the thing I keep hearing about, last season, his tactics worked because he had Vissa and Mbumbo, and I'm like, but everybody told me he didn't have a set thing. Everybody told me he didn't have a set style of play. He didn't do this, he set up for all these different things, and you'd see all this tactical flexibility in formation and the way we play and all this kind of stuff. And I'm sorry, but so that was nonsense then. Like, what his tactics have always been this. And by the way, it is Brentford fans who were like feeding this constantly to me, going, "Oh, you seen any subs at half time?" I'm like, rarely. I don't. Maybe an injury. Yeah, you won't. Have you seen this happen? Have you seen this happen? I'm like, yeah, that's kind of you're gonna see that every week. And and like, and they're right. And it's like all the stuff I was kind of fearful of, but everyone told me I was wrong, including you, by the way.
Yeah, no, I hold my hands up.
And it's just there for all to see constantly. We play PSG tonight away. It appears
to me that the whole appearing on the Gary Lineker podcast, and if you remember, it was one of the international tournaments on the BBC. He was one of the pundits for that.
Oh, okay.
Which is another one I saw him. Like, he was a pundit for some of the games in the studio. And he was giving all these really kind of like in-depth tactical things that he was talking about. It appears what he had been doing was a long-term PR stunt to get himself a better job. It bloody worked on a lot of people, myself included. And then all of a sudden he got in the seat and went, I don't know what I'm doing.
So here's just an interesting thing about like the tactics and all this kind of stuff, because there are some accounts on Twitter which are just people like me, you, and anybody who do tactical analysis and breakdown. There's some YouTubers and people on TikTok who do insane, in-depth videos and analysis and breakdowns of players, the data, the systems, and all this kind of stuff. And I can spend time going through this and thinking, wow, that's really interesting. That, this is the sort of data I'd imagine analysts are given to coaches, managers to say, look, we're scouting this player, we've done this analysis, and all this kind of stuff. And so I find it quite fascinating that there's people doing this. I also went to school with, so know quite well, someone who actually worked full-time as a professional football scout. He worked for Tottenham for a number of years, which was great for me, so there was insight. He now does basically freelance work for lower league stuff and still for some Premier League teams. But he talks to me about analysis and stuff like that and how it's changed over the years and the different things that now clubs look for, and they're also very niche to different clubs. The way they want to look at things, the sort of things they take into account changes massively, and that can change as well with when new managers come in. Like, oh, I don't care about any of that. I want to focus on this, and and it changes dramatically. But the insight he's given me on that is very similar to the stuff I see from these people who do these fantastic analysis jobs on teams, on setups, on players. So I look at
that. Makes me think any of them could walk into a top six management job.
Well, no, and this is the point. They can. Like, this is the point I'm about to make. You can. Like,
no.
You can be Tactics Tim all you want and have your little fucking whiteboard there and all this kind of stuff. But if every player rolls their eyes every time you open your trap, you ain't doing nothing. You can argue about the tactics or you can say everything under Ange in that regard was poor and we didn't have any plan and all this kind of stuff. We did. We had a pattern of play, all of this kind of stuff. Last season, it absolutely crumbled because of the situation we had around the players, the injuries, and everything that happened in that. And there is so much behind the scenes stuff in that is just mind blowing, and rumor and innuendo. And there's probably 5 people on the planet who can answer 100%, and none of them are going to talk about it until there's probably a book deal, I guess. But my point is on this is he could motivate the players. He could speak to the players in a way that they were running through walls for him. All through last season, at no point in all of the fucking hammering, Ange should be sacked. The fans turning on them. Like, our own fans were booing the players. There were arguments. I remember little Matisse Tell joining the club for all of a week, getting ripped apart by a fan at full time. Like, he's like gone over to applaud them, and the fans like, "You're all fucking shit," and like stuff like that. I saw all of that, and not once did one member of that squad go to the press. And I mean the squad, not anyone who was playing. So someone who'd been sat on the bench and maybe felt, bloody hell. Sergio Reguilon wanted to leave the club. He was completely cast out by Ange in the sense of, look, you're not in my Premier League squad, you're not in this squad, you're not in this squad, please leave. He didn't get the transfer he wanted, so he stayed. Ange didn't kick him to the under-21s, didn't do anything, said, right, okay, then you're going to be added to the Premier League squad because you're still here, you're training with us every day, you're a part of this, but you're not in my plans, you're not a player that I think works. Reguilon kept his head down. When he left the club, he had nothing but praise for Ange. Nothing at all. All of these players, to a person, not one of them last season went to the press and said, things are shit, training's bad, the injuries are because of his training methods. No one, not a person did that. That came from the club, and a woman called Donna Cullum, when they were getting ready to fire him, started leaking it. And if you remember, the players instantly corrected her. Like, instantly.
Oh, God, yeah, Pedro Porro on international duty.
Yeah, Mickey van der Ven.
Taking time out to go to a press conference and go, that's bollocks.
Yeah, Mickey van der Ven, who was injured for a lot of it, literally as well called it nonsense. Like, the minute anything was negative, like the minute the club tried to do their usual tactic under Levy and Donna, which was, feed that to the press, soften the ground, then we fire him. The players rallied immediately to a person. QT came out with his usual, straight to the point. We should have signed better players. We didn't. Now we're in this shit state, but it's not Ange's fault.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to blame English not really his first language, so it comes across really blunt. It's not quite what he meant. Yeah, he fucking did.
Yeah, we now know he can speak English.
Yeah, since he's been captain and signed the new deal and everything, all of a sudden we're all like, so you do know what you're doing, like you. So that whole kind of he's just trying to maneuver a way out from the club and all this stuff. No, he was making it abundantly clear what he felt about the hierarchy, who of course all now gone. My point in saying all of this is not to do this lament thing of like, I miss Ange, I hate this guy. Like that's not where I'm at. My point is the freaking thing that drives me insane is that Ange was hammered for all this stuff, which Thomas Frank isn't being. And then there's this reality that Thomas Frank is now trying to create himself of like how terrible we were, and therefore, I'm doing this amazing job, and you've all got to be patient. It's like you're being gaslit. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, it's not the bare minimum of any team, a Tottenham side I've ever supported throughout the years. And bear in mind, I watched us during the 90s, and we were fucking shit. Like, people think finishing 17th last season and winning the Europa League was terrible. I can tell you, fighting relegation and scraping a win against Wimbledon, old-fashioned Wimbledon, and Sheffield Wednesday to stay in the Premier League, to stay up and not be relegated, is shit. Like, I can tell you that when you've got a guy called Gary Doherty, who was famously a central defender and a striker, as your centre forward plus centre back on a regular basis.
Oh, what a player he was.
You are absolute fucking garbage. Like, you think
that was
signing
the early 2000s, wasn't it?
You think signing Xavi and these players, we're just not doing it. Imagine signing Jason fucking Dezelle from Ipswich and that being your superstar.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot put into words, and sorry, Dozzle, didn't mean to single you out there. Another one, Moussa Saib, the fucking Algerian prince who could pass the ball and land it on a two-punt. Couldn't fucking run. Like, I can't move. Like, I can't get over. And having to, as a fan, like at school in this age, try and be excited by like, we signed this guy. He's the, like, Afghanistani Pele. No, it was crap. Like, all of it was rubbish, and it was continual crap all the time, and we were shit to watch. But when we played Arsenal, we worked our bollocks off. There's this whole thing that came out of the North London derby until recent years, which was form goes out the window. It doesn't matter. It's the North London derby. One of these teams could be bottom, one could be top. A game is going to be competitive. When we were at our worst, I watched us scrape draws against them. They were the Invincibles, and we drew 2-2 with them, and we were garbage. I watched us fight them in every sense of the word in games where they had Overmars and Bergkamp, and we had, I don't know, Nicky Barmby. Like, I can't.
Frederick Canute up front.
Yeah,
compared
like,
to
I cannot tell you the level difference between the sides at loads of points during my life. And it's been them on top and us under it by a long way. And yet, when we played each other, home and away, it was a frigging fight. It was a game. It was competitive. And Thierry Henry said it best at the weekend, like, Tottenham didn't even show up. They might as well have not been there. It was a training exercise for Arsenal. And that's exactly what it was. If you were going to set up a training drill where one team sits and the other team tries to break it down, that was what that match was at the Emirates. And it was pathetic. And that was a setup from the coach. It was a setup tactically to get a 0-0. We were time wasting from the 3rd minute looking for a 0-0. Time wasting. After
you cannot go to your arch rivals and your neighbouring rivals and the main club that you and your fans kind of have that thing against and say, yeah, we're going to set up for a 0-0 and just try and defend the game. It cannot be done. Like, it shouldn't be done. And the thing that I said at the beginning of the podcast, like, you cannot go to your rivals with 5 defenders and 2 central defensive midfielders. That is not acceptable to happen. What is even more unacceptable than that is to go there with 5, 6, 7, including the goalkeeper, 8 defensive players and concede 4 goals. Like, let that sink in. You have 8 defensive players on the pitch one of them got an assist, and you conceded 4 goals, and at no point did anything in the tactics. Like, we were set up to counter-attack without the counter-attack.
Yeah.
Like, everything was set up, like you say, to defend the box, make sure they don't score, and then he kind of like forgot the rest of the team talk.
Do you remember under Pochettino, there was an Arsenal fan, dude dressed a bit like a pirate, and just before we played him, he did famously say, "Whose name is Harry Kane?" And Kane tore him a new arsehole in the game, scored twice, we won. Yeah?
Yes.
It became hilariously famous that the idiot would say that because it's like inviting trouble.
Yeah.
In the press conference prior to us playing Arsenal, a journalist said, "Oh, how close were you to signing Esse?" It's a silly but fair question given we pursued him and then he joined Arsenal. That is a question that's going to come. Thomas Frank's way of dealing with it was to say, "Who is Esse?" Now,
yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I should put money on him scoring.
I did.
You won?
I did, right? So here's the kicker for this for me, okay? I saw that as someone typed it and like posted the comment out. And I saw one of the largest Arsenal fan accounts tag Esse in it and just said no further motivation needed. And I looked at that and I went, yeah, you're right. Like, if I was that player, I would be going out in this game, probably more than any game this season, with that mindset of, fuck you. Like, he is an Arsenal fan who wanted to join Arsenal. He got the opportunity to join them without a shadow of doubt. I stand by the fact that if we hadn't fucked around, we'd have signed him and he'd have been very good for us. But that's a whole... Yeah. That's a whole other thing. I was so convinced he was signing for us. I predicted he'd be our top assist this season, if you remember. So it's a whole other thing. But there is no doubt in my mind he'd have done very well for us because Arsenal had messed him around at that point as well. But the minute they had that injury, boom, they signed him. Fine, it happened. Thomas Frank should have said, yeah, he was a player we were definitely interested in. But he's an Arsenal fan. He now gets to play for the club he grew up supporting, which is a wonderful thing for him. Hopefully he doesn't have a good game tomorrow. Ha ha ha, laugh, 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 move on. Bang, done.
Yeah.
You being an antagonistic prick in that moment you got exactly what you fucking deserved. And the minute I saw that, I looked and went, oh, I wonder what the odds are of him scoring against us, because that seems pretty friggin' typical. And, other gambling sites are available, but Sky Bet had odds on it, and I went, oh, do you know what? I got £4.30 or something in this account. I'll just stick it on that because it's going to happen. And I won 50 quid.
Yeah, it's like, even before Thomas Frank said that, with the whole kind of transfer thing that happened,
yeah, he was going to be
pretty
motivated.
much guaranteed a goal or assist.
Well, he was going to be motivated. Of course he was, because you think about the way the fans reacted to him and the shit he was given and by the way, quite justifiably in my opinion. And
he's an Arsenal fan playing against Tottenham.
Yeah, like he's playing for Arsenal, and of course he scores a hat trick, the first hat trick in a North London derby. Now keep in mind, I think it was since the 1970s. That's the first hat trick.
It was his first ever hat-trick as well.
Think of the strikers that have played for both Arsenal and Tottenham since then. Think of the forward players in general. Like I mentioned, Henry, Bergkamp, Overmars, people like that for Arsenal. You've got Robbie Keane, Berbatov, Pavlyuchenko.
Bale.
Oh, what's the name of that bloke? Oh, yeah, Harry Kane. Son Heung-min, Eriksson, Dele Alli. The players that have played in the North London derbies in all that time, and not one of them's managed to get a hat-trick. But Esse, motivated like fuck, probably should have had 5.
Yeah.
And he scored a hat-trick. Yeah, you can argue about that second one because there was an offside thing, but to be honest with you, it was... it didn't... Like, there's no impact. If the game had finished 2-1 to them, and that had been the winner, I'd probably be pissed. But... the game should have been like 9-1 to them. So it really isn't a fucking debate, in my opinion.
No, and talking of 9-1, we've got PSG tonight.
we play PSG tonight, right? So here's my question for you. Okay, we are going to Parc des Princes in Paris.
Yep.
We played at the weekend against probably the best team in England, and our setup was try and get 0-0.
Yep.
Forgetting the Tottenham Arsenal rivalry in that, just purely focusing on that was Thomas Frank's mentality of playing against the best team in England was to try and get out there with a 0-0.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, therefore, what do you think is his plan for tonight?
Obviously, be exactly the same. 3 at the back. Because, well, it almost worked in the Super Cup. That'll be his thing. When we get battered 5-0, his conversation will be, well, we played like this in the Super Cup and we drew in normal time, so I thought it'd be the right approach.
But don't you see a big difference, however, in that Super Cup performance where we did counter-attack? That was a setup in that game where we did have a setup to counter.
I don't know. My theory on that is that he hadn't managed to stomp the Ange ball out the players yet.
Man, see, you're such a flip-flop.
I'm like, at the time, I was like, yeah, okay, he set that up the counter-attack was there. The more of the season that I've watched and the more of the football I've watched under Thomas Frank, I am now kind of leaning towards that cup performance was because players like, the players like the Johnsons and stuff like that, they still had Ange ball in their veins.
Yeah. Brennan Johnson, who scored, who was pushing for 20 goals last season, can't even get off the bench for us now. And when he does, he's typically utilised as a man marker to double up as a right back. It is just fucking
insanity. Then goes to
insanity.
Wales, gets played as a centre forward and scores a fucking peach of a goal.
Yeah, it was a good goal. Yeah, it was a good goal. In fact, you only got to look at the way our players played on international duty, the vast majority of them, to realise, so they're okay then. Weird.
Squad. They're doing really well.
I was told every single one of them is useless. This is bizarre. Joe, one of the few players who didn't get any minutes on international duty was Richie at Brazil.
Yeah.
And yet the bloke can't seem to find his way out of our starting 11. But look, we play PSG and I am full on comedy mode with this. And it is my coping mechanism where I am expecting us to get not just beaten soundly on the scoreboard, but to be played off the park. And it's going to be horrific to watch, is my fear. It is going to be horrific.
I'm kind of stuck in this horrible kind of ground of either I want to see a performance like in the Super Cup, where we go there and we're more front foot and we shock them.
Yeah.
Or it's got to be so bad that I wake up Thursday morning and he's been sacked.
See, now, this is the thing I want to finish with. And this is, we have had 20, 30 emails, which are ones I could read. We've had more which are just abusive. So let me just to an address of across various topics in this. One, the reason why we stopped for the international breaks is to give me a break because I'm not a full-time podcaster and this does take effort. I know it sounds like it doesn't because of how crap I am, but there is effort involved in doing this. So in the international breaks, I do take the break to do this. And also, I'm not going to lie, I'm not enjoying watching this. So this is a couple of people have said this in emails and you're right. I am not enjoying this at all. So when I get a break from it, I actually want to take a break right now. I have no excitement, nothing to look forward to because for me, every game comes with oh great, here we go again. On our Facebook page...
I can't believe anyone is watching the football at the moment and enjoying it.
Well, it depends it depends how built into the narrative someone is, but in the current thing at the moment, so we got a Facebook page which everybody knows, which is the Origins of Spurs News. Started as a Facebook page and grew to have Instagram and all this other stuff, and the podcast, which I'm on now. Hello. Every time there's a game, we do match coverage, so like kickoff, updates with goals and everything like that. The person who does that is me. Apologies, I'm losing my voice. But the person who does that is me. And that means that every single game throughout a season I watch, I, like, gun to my head, have to do the page updates. I think in the last, I don't know, we've run this page for 10 years. I've maybe missed 5 games in 10 years. There can't be many Tottenham fans who can say the same. Like, there just can't be, that have watched us that much over that period of time. But here I am, and this is what I do. I am fucking hating every minute of it. And I am constantly saying to the rest of our admin team, anyone fancy doing this? And all of you fuckers have got excuses. Matt, who has no hair, tells me he's washing his hair every week.
Yeah.
Polynesian Dan, oh, my wife's had a baby, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, that's actually true and beautiful. And they're not married, actually. I didn't always say wife. Dan, you should really, fuck you, Dan. You should really put a ring on it, dude. What you doing? What you playing at? Come on. That's awful. Man up. If I'm going down, I'm taking everyone with me. Lovely Laura constantly says, I'd love to, but I'm learning the ping pong trick from my OnlyFans. And I'm like, oh, great. Cheers. Brilliant. She could fire them. Anyway, that's a different story. New boy, the friggin' new boy Ryan. Oh, new boy, do you fancy doing this? Yeah, definitely. Just tell me what I need to do to help out. Definitely. Oh yeah, I can. I'm going to that game. Oh, are you, mate? Yeah. Last minute. Oh yeah, I had to give my ticket up actually because we're shit and I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, that man has sold so many tickets this season.
In
fairness, there are 7 days of the week.
Yeah.
And I have managed to choose the match tonight when I'm taking my daughters to the cinema.
Yeah, look at that worked out.
Yeah, no, there's 7 days in the week, and I've gone, do you know what? I think Wednesday would be a good night to go to the cinema.
See, again, I've known
because I am like you. There is no part of me, which I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I'm saying there is absolutely no part of me that tonight wants to watch the team I love and support get absolutely destroyed by the best team in Europe. And it hurts me as a fan, as a supporter, as a Tottenham Hotspur lover to say that there is no part of me that sees anything other than my team getting absolutely destroyed.
Will you play Fulham on Saturday? Home against Fulham. Any plans? Any plans? Fancy watching that? Or do you fancy taking over and doing the updates for that?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I haven't seen my diary.
My point is, playing PSG away, we can all probably think we're going to lose. We're not good enough really to compete at that level. This could get embarrassing. There's an obvious reason a lot of people might want to avoid this game. My point I'm trying to make about Fulham at home is we should not be feeling that way about that game. And yet I guarantee you the vast majority are. So when I say, hey, anyone fancy covering that game? No, I don't want to watch that either. Because there's nothing enjoyable about watching us. There's no style of play. There's nothing. There's no sign. Like I said, that I keep seeing journalists comparing Thomas Frank to Pochettino. Oh, Pochettino had a rough start, but I could see the way he wanted us to play. I could see the pattern. I could see a style of football which was exciting to watch. You could see what was going on, and we watched his Southampton team beat and compete against every side in the league consistently playing this way. So it's right there. Under Thomas Frank, I watched his Brentford side do this consistently and get mid-table consistently, which for Brentford's fucking brilliant. We should have bigger ambitions.
Yeah.
Like, we're Tottenham Hotspur. Like, we were part of the Big Six, and now it's a fucking joke. Like, it is a joke that people still put us in that bracket. In fact, listen to pundits right now. They have removed us from that bracket. We are not part of that now. And the level of just incompetence from the club management to put us in this position consecutively, window after window of shite or nothing, just leading us to this constant thing of changing the coaches, changing the whole philosophy, changing everyone we sign. Oh, that didn't work, change it again. It's just infuriating to then settle on a guy with an attacking premise and a promise he'd win something. The attacking was there. He then didn't get the players. He then still won something, and you fired him anyway. And then you did provide the players to a new guy who doesn't know how to fucking use them. Honestly, I feel like I want to drive my head through a wall that people aren't seeing this. It is incompetence on a level I have never seen. And I genuinely believe, I could be wrong, but I genuinely believe when we played that badly against Chelsea, Daniel Levy would have had doubts about Thomas Frank. And when we lost 4-1 to Arsenal at Arsenal like that, I genuinely think he'd have been getting his trigger finger ready.
And then I think tonight's match would probably have been the pulling the trigger.
I believe after watching us under so many years and so many managers being fired and stuff, I felt like I knew the pattern with Daniel of, oh no, this isn't working. This isn't going to work.
That bloke that we're not allowed to talk about, there was a pattern very similar to this, where it fell apart early on and they pulled the trigger.
Yeah. It was obvious it wasn't working.
It's happening right in front of us, and
we
all
have
we're
no
getting
idea.
is, oh yeah, but this, and I'm like, what am I not seeing here?
We have no idea what the Lewis family are and who is in charge of this now, in the sense of who would make that call. None of us know. We have all these different people in these different roles and all this kind of stuff, but we always knew at the end of the day, Daniel would make the call. We knew that. Yeah. All these executives, everyone, they could all argue with him, but it was him who made the call and he followed through it and he lived and died by those decisions. I have no idea who in Tottenham right now is the person who's going to be sat down going, this is bad. Like, the Lewis family have so created funds in the club to spend in January. If I am the owner, if I'm the owner of this club, do you back this guy and say, right, this style of football is everything I want to see, and yeah, add players to make this better for us? Or do I go, Jesus, this is crap. The last guy appointed him as his final thing, and we're now going to correct that mistake. And we're going to bring in someone who actually wants to play football, and we're going to use the funds we got to back that new someone in January to try and at least finish this season strongly, and then go into the next season and be competitive where we back them again in the summer. To me, it's a no-brainer because it's just not working. I would love to have been wrong on this. I would love everybody to be like, oh, you said he was going to be shit and look how it's working out. But
I would love to have been right.
Every single fear I had and everything I laid out to everybody, go back and listen, is happening. You've got to be blind to it to not see it. And so this isn't a kind of, oh, I fucking told you so, or anything like that, because I am angry and I am pissed off that my fandom, my club, and I'm watching this drab shit. I want to see us in the Champions League competing against the best sides, but the word in there is really important, is competing. And my fear tonight is, once again, it's not going to be competing, it's going to be what we did against Arsenal. And what we did against Arsenal was the equivalent of a Sunday League team getting to the third round of the FA Cup and going up against a big boy trying to get a replay. It was pathetic. And whilst that is still ringing in my ears and my eyes, I need to be bleached because of it, to now play PSG, to then play Fulham at home, I don't see where our next win comes from. And that, to me, like, is worrying. And yeah, I just no idea what we're going to do. So
I remember a few weeks ago we were talking in the group chat and we were looking at it was like the next 8 fixtures or something.
yeah.
And normally you'd look at those and you'd go, okay, that's a win, that's a point, that's a point, that's a win. Oh, that could be a struggle, maybe a loss. That should be a win. And I remember we looked at it and I think it was this one, like, Chelsea, and we were all like, yeah, lose that, lose to Arsenal, lose to PSG. Fulham are struggling at the moment. We might get a draw against them. And it's like, shit, when did our mindset change that badly that we've gone from should beat them, that'll be a tough game, but should get a point, should beat them, to, oh, yeah, Fulham are struggling. Oh, it's at home as well. Oh, we might get a point.
Well,
what the hell have they done to this squad, this club, the fan base?
And there we have it. That was my basically hour-long rant. I feel better, so I hope everyone listening hates me again. Says, yeah, by the way, the level of hate mail I get now is like on another level, and I'm not entirely sure why.
I think you're pretty much at this point at least a B-list celebrity.
Well,
to get that level.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of bizarre. Like I don't quite understand what I've done wrong, other than voicing my opinion and be proved right. And I'm not happy about it. Anyone who's listening knows I'm not happy about it. Like it's this, I can't stress enough how unhappy I am. So I don't know. Maybe if I was being a gloating prick, maybe I deserve it. But anyway, right. So that is our show. We will be back next week. There are no more international breaks. I will say, coming up soon, Stefan, you are gallivanting off on a family vacay for a while, which means we're going to be without you for all through Christmas into the new year. And that means I need to find some co-hosts for shows in December. So I'm going to throw it out there. If there's anyone up for that and they fancy joining us, I've already filled one slot, I think, with a surprise co-host who's going to be my older brother, who is the reason I'm a Spurs fan. So it's going to be an hour of me shouting at him.
Bastard.
Yeah, I had two older brothers as a kid who liked football. One was a Liverpool fan, one was a Tottenham fan. So yeah, I blame him and I hold him personally responsible. So we're going to get him on the show with me. That should be fun. But yeah, everybody, we will be back next week where we're going to be talking about the PSG game, the Fulham game, and looking ahead. Until then, I want you all to take care. Hopefully, there'll be a miracle in Paris and I will have to eat my hat, so to speak, and everything, but it doesn't seem very likely at the moment. But until then, everybody, you all take care.
And come on, you Spurs.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.